What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mattios here with a brand new video, and today I'm gonna be doing a review of the series Cutie Honey. Now, this was gonna be since I was gonna do a review of this before I did the review. Forget which one. Dissolving Classroom. I was gonna do this before Dissolving Classroom, but some stuff happened, and I ended up finishing Dissolving Classroom before I finished this. But this is by a girl. So it's by a girl and a guy. He also did like the Devilman series, or still does, I think. Like he's done some iterations of the Devilman series, and actually he did Devilman actually 1 year before he did Cutie Honey. Which I didn't know. So yeah, I knew he did both, but I didn't know that he did Devilman before he did Cutie Honey. But that Cutie Honey though came out in October of 1973, and then ended in April of 1974 with 24 chapters. So definitely not a long series. It's a pretty quick series, but it just follows this girl named Kurosagi Honey, who has a big secret, and obviously it's her being an android, which she was made by a father who always wanted a daughter and didn't have one, so he decided to make her instead. And obviously that she's an android, so that she can turn into different things. And obviously that when she uses her powers, she turns into Cutie Honey. But for the rest of the video, I'm probably just gonna be using the word honey, just because I'm too lazy to change the first name. But so obviously her dad made her, like she's an android, and she's being hunted, that this organization wants her, this Panther Claw wants her because of something that she has in her, and that they want to take the power for themselves. But yeah, so again, it kind of starts out with her waking up and seeing her dad, and pretty much it goes straight from that to her going to school called St. Chapels, which is like a Catholic all school, and pretty much everyone falls for her immediately. Like the teacher loves her, everyone just fell in love with Honey, and that they all loved her, and that even some fights happened with them. There was I think a couple fights that happened in the beginning too, but that she ended up sitting next to this girl named Aki, who ended up being her roommate. And so Aki kind of explained to her that oh hey, this school is kind of by itself, it's very isolated, and that we don't get to see our families that much except once a week, that we get to go back home and see our family and stuff. But so kind of jumping straight into it with the beginning, and then that you also meet the dorm attendant, the person who he was the leader of the dorms, and people call her Kistler because of how strict she is, and that she apparently, according to Aki, she did all this awful stuff to her, and it's just she's super strict. And so that it's about to be bedtime, lights out, as they call it, lights out, and that Honey's still getting changed when the dormitory person is coming through to see if everyone's asleep. Now Aki tried to warn it, saying if you get caught past lights out, then you're getting ripped. That's it. She's getting ripped, and Honey last second obviously makes it, that pretty much was the beginning of it though. And then as things progressed, Honey's trying to go to sleep at night, and then she just randomly, who is her dad, and she freaks out. She freaks out because to her, her dad sounded close, and it turns out it was just a neurotransmitter that he put in her, and it turns out that the that evil organization that's trying to get her went to her dad's went to her dad's laboratory, and obviously that she transforms into Cutie Honey for the first time in the series, and that she gets to her dad's laboratory, she finds a bunch of Panther Claw people, and she obviously gets into a heated battle with them, and she ends up winning. Obviously, that's gonna be the big thing. But yeah, she ends up winning, and that she ends up finding her dad, and turns out her dad got badly wounded, and her dad ended up dying, like in the beginning of the story, her dad dies, and but before he but since he died, that there was this, I guess, cyborg or holographic image of him that explained that there was something that he put inside of Honey that Panther Claw really wants. So that's pretty much what it is, and it could like transform the weather and stuff and all this crazy stuff, but. But yeah, so her dad dies, and then it turns out that there was also like a news reporter there that was trying to get an interview with her dad, like when the attack happened. And so initially, she didn't want him to know about the secret, but they ended up joining forces, and he was gonna try to help her out. And but yeah, so that obviously she like learned about the secret, and now that they like want to that she wants to get back at Panther Claw and like make sure that they don't do anything bad, and that him and the new like her and the news reporter find out that they're gonna rob something or blow something up at a museum, so that they go there to try to stop him. Now that's where says they didn't really stop them in this point. So then that cutie Honey goes back to his school where she finds her roommate Aki tied up by a bunch of boys, which I thought was kind of, which like this is the only encounter that they have with the boys in the story. Like I thought it'd be more, but again, it's only a 24 chapter series, so you can't really do much with 24 chapters. But uh, was this also kind of weird? But like that whole situation is weird. But Honey quiets everything down. That they leave them alone. So he gets Aki out of the situation, and that. So Panther Claw also again announces that they're going to rob something to try to trap her, and so they go there, and it doesn't really work out. But they get the news reporter guy there, but they did capture him and stuff to try to get information out of him to, you know, try to get Cutie Honey. But obviously it doesn't work. But they try to do different tactics to kind of get Cutie Honey. So they try to, that one of the people that work for Cutie Honey disguise themselves as the news reporters, so then that they can get close to Cutie Honey and kill her. That doesn't work, and this is kind of where we're starting to get towards the end, because again, it's not a long series, but they end up trying to attack the school, which it doesn't work, and obviously the school's destroyed now. It's gone forever, and so but they announce that they're gonna rob this guy who's a famous professional wrestler. They're gonna try to rob the statue of Buddha, and that Cutie Honey had this bright idea that sets you can tune bronze. Says her idea was like, oh, try to be like steal the Buddha statue, like her and a group of friends that she made. Uh, to steal the Buddha statue, and then she's gonna be the bronze statue that they're gonna steal, which they end up stealing the bronze statue anyways, and so that's where Cutie Honey meets Sister Jill, who is like the big headmaster at this organization, and that they end up having this big battle, which obviously Cutie Honey wins, and that's kind of what ends off is like that she's kind of left naked out there because he can't change back yet because he doesn't have power, and it's all of her friends seeing and like the news reporter, and then like that like she also met an old man and his like I think it was his nephew, who are very preferred it throughout this whole series, like that they're like the preferred characters, and that's pretty much how it ends. Which but my overall thoughts of it, like I really liked the art style and like the designs of the characters. I thought like he did a really good job with that. But the story, I didn't care for the story too much. I didn't, and so I didn't mind for it. But I'm gonna cut it some slack. Like I cut it some slack just because it is an older shonen series that obviously had some influence over other shonen series, and like inspired some other ones. But the story I thought was okay. Like it could have been better, and I kind of wish it was a little bit longer. And that one thing I did question was like, because there was a lot of nudity in the series, so I did some digging, and initially Cutie Honey was supposed to be like a shoujo, like it was gonna be targeted towards young girls and stuff, and then it turned into a shonen series, And what's even then, I'm not sure what target demographic I mean, obviously boys, like guys were the target, but from what I've seen, it varied in age of like the target demographic, which is fine because I was a little bit confused. And obviously, even on the book, it says like now is this older teen on the back, but like I didn't really know that much about it, especially back then, like when it first came out, who was for, and I actually did some more research too, and apparently again apparently she was like one of the first, if not the first, shonen protagonist like ever, like in history of manga and stuff in shonen. That she was like one of the first, if not the first, female protagonist in shonen magazines. But that Cutie Honey was really the first like non-doujin, so like the first non-adult manga that really had nudity in it. Because that no one else really, because if it had nudity, it was pretty much a adult manga, like a doujin or like a hentai type of situation. And that this was pretty much like the first one that we made that popular to have some nudity, and like it doesn't have to be like in adult manga to have some nudity. But even then, I feel like so in shonen, I do notice like so it's not as much as Cutie Honey does it, because even like so like I'll notice it in modern day shonen like One Piece or Black Clover or something like that, like where it's like that. So that they were so parts, but they won't show, but like like the like nipple, I guess, so that like like you'll show them bathing in the bath, but like it would just show the top of the breast, I guess. So it's like, listen, I feel uncomfortable talking about breast on YouTube online, and like because I don't want to come off as perverted. I'm just using my observation skills. I don't want to be called a pervert. I'm just using my observation skills. But while this one, it was definitely full on just boob. It was. He was full on boob in this one, and kind of made me uncomfortable. Like it made me pretty uncomfortable actually, because that she's a high school girl. Right, this is like an all girls high school, and that she did this every time she transformed. So that's why I was like, okay, listen, she's like 16. I'm not comfortable like reading through this, but like outside of that, I didn't have too much to complain about the series. I enjoyed it enough where like the comedy was hit or miss for me too, but again, like that's just kind of the sign of the times too. Like humor back then was obviously very different than it is now. Like at least in like the mainstream, like a lot of it is different. And but it's just overall I enjoyed it enough to where like I could just sit down and have a good time with it. And obviously there were some parts I didn't, like I thought would, well I just didn't like, but I think overall, like I would give Cutie Honey a 7.5, because I don't think it was that bad. There was some really good parts, and then some parts I didn't care for again, as I just said. But with that being said, I will see everyone in the next video, and actually, please like and subscribe and comment, and I also have a live stream. I'm doing a live stream Friday night at 7 p.m. So better be there. I'm playing some games. I'm playing some Elden Ring. I'm playing some Shadow of Mordor, and I'm also doing Alien vs Predator, the 2010 game. And I'm gonna try to beat all three campaigns for Alien vs Predator, and obviously beat Elden Ring, which I'm having some hard times with right now. But it's it's just good to my live stream and find out how I'm doing on that game. So see you then, guys.